Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Vikram Sarabhai Library, I am Ahmedabad. I, Reena Patel, welcome you all to our hybrid book talk program. For today's book talk, we have with us Mr. Harsh Pamnani, the author of the book Booming Digital Stars 11 Inspiring Journeys from India's Creator Economy. Professor Anand Kumar Jaiswal from IIM Ahmedabad will also be joining the book talk for a conversation with the author. We would like to thank Mr. Harsh Pamnani for having kindly agreed to review his newly published book. I also welcome Professor Anand Kumar Jaiswal from IIM Ahmedabad for joining the conversation with Mr. Harsh Pamnani. Before we start the book talk, I would like to give a short introduction of the author of the book, and then there will be a 45 minutes talk by Mr. Harsh Pamnani and the Professor Anand Kumar Jaiswal. Afterwards, we will take a question answer session. Harsh Pamnani is a storyteller by passion and brand expert by profession. He helps business leaders communicate inspiring stories that highlight brand strengths, improve employee commitment and customer engagement, and drive business growth. He has written a best-selling book series, Booming Brands with CNBC. It covers inspiring journeys of 22 new age made in India brands. His third book, that is the Booming Digital Stars, covering 11 inspiring journeys from India's creator economy, become a national bestseller within a month. That's a very great. He has written around more than 100 articles on brand building. He also teaches the branding at premier business institutes like MICA, XLRI, and Educate, platforms like Rabshala and Upgrade. Also, he has spoken at forums such as TEDx, JOS Talks, to Google Business Groups, IITs, and IIMs. For his contribution to social initiatives, he has received appreciation from various non-profit organizations also. Now, I will not take more than time, and then now I request to Mr. Harsh Pamnani to take over the session and start. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So first of all, I want to say thanks to everybody at IIM Ahmedabad for giving me this opportunity. I want to say thanks to all of you for being my audience today. So I will try my best to share whatever I know about creator economy, and please feel free to ask any question that you have about the topic. Okay, let's keep this engaging conversation. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone. We can start. Yeah.
So let me formally welcome Mr. Harsh Pamnani for agreeing to be part of our book talk. As you know, our library is organizing this event regularly, and my understanding of this event, or the rationale behind this event is to invite authors and understand their perspective, or to know their story, their own story, or their experience of writing book, provide their insider perspective of gaining the idea of how exactly they started writing, how they finished the project, and eventually some input or insights also on the marketing side or the managing side of the entire journey. So with that objective, I think, so let us thank Reena and her team, our library team, to organize this book talk. So, we have about 45 minutes and we'll try to use this time effectively. So as you know, Harsh has written not just one, 3 books, and all of them are bestsellers. And the first 2 books are also booming stars, as
Booming brands.
Booming brands, actually. Yeah, booming brands. I've looked at these 2 books, and these first two books were on the mostly mid-size, small-size companies. You can say new age or digital economy companies like Big Basket, Zomato, and Pagalguy.com, and several other. How these companies, in a very short period of time, they ended up becoming a real big player, significant player. Many of them are unicorn, I was told. So the first 2 books were, and these 2 books were sponsored by or supported by CNBC.
Backed by CNBC. They published it.
So CNBC published, and I was told CNBC is otherwise not very commonly supporting. Again, those 2 books were the the bestsellers, or even they continue to be selling in good volume now. Now, the third book which we are going to talk about today is actually Booming Digital Stars, and it's on a topic where everybody is curious about, or it's a real hot contemporary topical topic, you can say. In MBA program or elsewhere, we have been talking about this topic, digital marketing, or more specifically influencer marketing. So, and we have very little understanding. So as a faculty or as academic, I can possibly share my perspective. When we wish to take some of these real emerging, real hot or real new ideas to the classroom, we often struggle with the content. So we know that it's a big force. Everybody is interested in knowing about influencer marketing because everybody seemingly is excited about, marketers are using, everybody, the media is talking about. So we intend to take that to the classroom, but often we are severely impaired because of lack of content. We don't have theories, we don't have books, we don't have case studies, we don't have examples, at least in a form which can be taken to the classroom, which can become part of discussion and therefore can be used as a pedagogical tool. So there is this, you can say, void or lack or a deficit in some way in terms of content availability on a very hot, very new topic. So this particular gap, I think Mr. Hers, filled it up. He attempted to fill it up. So he, interviewed 11 entrepreneurs or 11, I would say, celebrities in the influencer marketing domain. And then he tried understanding everything about these influencers, why they are so successful, what they're doing, how they build a personal brand, how they achieve such a significant success, how companies are using, influencer marketing effectively. So it's a very timely, the book actually, you can say, we need some content, we need intellectual, you can say, output or intellectual vehicle to understand the concept of influencer marketing, and Harsh has provided this. So it's very timely. So, so before we start off, I just thought, the book title or, the focus or emphasis is on creator economy. So before we ask specific questions, let us try to understand what exactly these terms mean. What is creator economy? And we'll of course talk about more about this later on, but if he can simplify for us, what is creator economy? Why it's important for us? Why we should be knowing about it? Why everybody is talking about it?
Yeah, so thanks for asking that question, sir. And before explaining creator economy definition technically, I would like to set some context. Many of you would have heard childhood stories about creative people, passionate people going from their villages and small towns to cities like Bombay to showcase their craft, getting rejected in auditions, and then going back to their hometowns with broken hearts. Many of those creative people were not able to monetize their passion. They gave up their passion, took up the conventional job, and basically because there was no way to showcase their art and craft and get appreciation and money from that. That was an old era. Let me talk about the new era, the current scenario. You would have seen that artists are coming from different parts of the country. They are becoming popular through platforms like YouTube. I mean, theater artists are performing on OTT platforms, the viral fever content, and they are becoming national celebrities. They are also endorsing the brands and even interviewing film stars, the traditional celebrities. And they are also monetizing their passion. This transition from the old era I spoke about and this new era I'm speaking about has happened because of creator economy. Creator economy is the foundation of that. Now, what creator economy is all about technically, it revolves around small businesses that are created around content creators who basically create, who can be video bloggers, who can be musicians, who can be cooks, who can be fashion designers, right? Or who could be a tutor, right? They created digital assets around them, digital businesses around them, which basically can be, which can go any part of the world because they are backed by digital technologies. So these, from day one, these businesses go wherever internet goes, right? So that's the power of creator economy. It is taking these people to masses, creating new markets for them, and they are able to monetize their passion. Why? Because these content creators have audience today. I mean, youngsters, be it Gen Z audience or millennials, they are not watching conventional media channels that much, but they are watching social media channels more. Day in, day out, they are getting more and more connected with these content creators who are showcasing their craft on the daily basis. And now, because they have audience, they have relationship with their audience, brands are reaching out to them to talk about these about their products, talk about their good things, so that their audience get to know, and through that the monetization is happening. There are certain other ways also through which monetization is happening. Like, many creators became famous because they have a craft, be it comedy, be it storytelling, be it cooking, be it dancing. Now, when they are creating their personal brand in a particular niche, they are able to create online courses, workshops around these particular crafts that they know. So that is also becoming a way of monetization. And then they, when become popular, they get invited by college for events, and there are many other sources. Many of them are now getting, because they are popular and they know how to face the camera and they have practice of acting on YouTube videos a lot, they are getting opportunities to perform on OTT platforms. Some of them are also now coming in movies. So that's the way the opportunities have opened up for all these creative people.
Okay, so that's this brief introduction to this terminology. Now, let me start with first question. As you all know, and Reena talked about that, Harsh has done his MBA from XLRI, and otherwise he was consultant before his MBA. So he had a regular job, probably high paying. He could have anyway followed a typical corporate journey, joining as a marketer in any of the leading companies. However, he decided to write these books. So this is a little off the, little off the terrain kind of journey, not so commonly followed. So I'm always curious, or I'm keen to know what exactly led you to start off your career as an author, leaving out.
Sure, sir. Thanks for asking that question. So there's a purpose behind it. Since childhood, I have been curious to understand how come few entrepreneurs create admirable brands while many struggle to survive. And to satisfy that curiosity, I have read many biographies, many case studies. In fact, while doing my job with Deloitte, both in India and the US, I used to attend sessions by entrepreneurs in business schools. When I was in the US, I used to attend sessions at Columbia and NYU. And when I was in India, I used to attend sessions at IIT Bombay, because I was in Bombay. Because I used to love these stories, because these stories used to communicate why and how behind the journeys of entrepreneurs. Why they created a business and how they made it big, how they made that brand popular in a crowded market, right? So when this curiosity, with time, my curiosity was increasing and I was enjoying this process. So I left my full-time job at Deloitte and took up a fellowship with a non-profit that is into fostering entrepreneurship. And this I did against wishes of my father, because I was earning good in Deloitte, but I had the curiosity. मेरे को रात को नींद नहीं आती थी. I wanted to understand more and more. तो मैंने कहा इससे अच्छा मौका क्या मिलेगा? I picked up that fellowship. Now, 2 years, I really enjoyed that fellowship, learned a lot, got opportunities to meet who's who in the industry. Because of being in Bombay and because of working with non-profit, I had access to many great entrepreneurs. But by the time this fellowship was ending, I realized that I am not ready to become an entrepreneur. Maybe I don't have that courage, self-confidence, and maybe a business idea. I can't go back to my job at Deloitte, and I can't show my face to my father, because he already said, boss, don't leave the job and do some, tell me what's your path after that. And I didn't have an answer. So I was unsure what I will do next. So this was the time I went and met one of my mentors, who happens to be a very senior entrepreneur. And I told him about the dilemma I was going through and what should I do now? And he shared a beautiful example with me that changed the trajectory of my career. So he said that, Harsh, in the field of cricket, there are two popular people. One is Sachin Tendulkar, who goes and plays in the field, and second one is Harsha Bhogle, who doesn't play, but he understands the game so well that he is able to talk and write about the strategies of the game and strategies of the player. He said, you might not be ready to become a full-time entrepreneur who goes and plays in the business field like Sachin Tendulkar, but you have the curiosity and storytelling ability like Harsha Bhogle. So you might want to become Harsha Bhogle in the field of business. Someone like Harsha Bhogle in the field of business. So that one analogy gave me a role model, a source of inspiration, and a vision. So I studied profile of Harsha Bhogle, found that he is an alumnus of IIM Ahmedabad. So I thought of that I should also try to do MBA. I prepared hard. Fortunately, I was able to get into XLRI. But I thought I got one success by following, by making a role model, getting into a top business school and getting into good books of my father again. But I should not stop following somebody if I truly want to follow somebody, right? So I found out that Harsha Bhogle writes in business publications, news media about cricket and the topics that he covers. So I thought of that I will also write about my area of interest, which is marketing and branding, how brands are created in crowded markets. That's my area of passion to understand. So it took me 1 year to get my first article published. Today, by God grace, there are 100 articles published and write for Forbes and others. That's a long journey. So I started writing about brand building, especially from the context of Indian brands in various business publications. And by the time my 50 articles were complete, I gained some more self-confidence. And I felt that maybe let me relook at Harsha Bhogle's journey and figure out next opportunity to move ahead. And I found that he has written some interesting books. So I decided to write books. Now topic comes which book I should write. So I thought of writing books on Indian brands. Now there's so many books available on Indian brands. So who will read my book? I had to find a white space. So, but during this whole process, I had also understood a problem. The problem was, in fact, whether I read it, studied at XLRI, whether I studied the biographies, or whether I spoke to people, I identified a problem. The problem was that most of the good business literature, be it business school case studies or be it books on marketing and branding, they are written by American authors and they cover American examples. So we get to understand the American context or international context. But India is not America. The way the brands were created in developed market like America can't be created in a developing and diverse market like India. During my research, I also found some biographies written on Indian corporates. But these corporates, these big brands have been created over decades, mostly in pre-liberalization, pre-digital era. So the strategies that worked for them might not work in today's context, right? And I was finding a lot of media articles coming on new age startups, but they were filled with what these companies are doing, like raising funds, building partnerships, what? They were not covering why and how. And I spoke with many professors, students, professionals. They also expressed that, Harsh, there is lack of literature on new age Indian brands. So I felt that the problem area that is close to my heart is also a problem area in the market. So so that was the starting point of writing Booming Brands, in which I covered some of the new age popular Indian brands, Paperboard, Zomato, Big Basket, Super 30, First Cry, Book My Show, Shadi.com, all these kind of brands that are getting built in this today's digital era and post-liberalization era. So that was the starting of Booming Brands. Then I wrote Booming Brand 1, Booming Brand 2. Should I continue? Like how I got the idea of this book? Should I continue?
Yeah, sure.
So when I was covering these startups, I wrote 2 books, covered 22 new age brands. When I was talking to these new age entrepreneurs, their CMOs, and understanding their approaches of building brand in today's crowded market, when the customers have changed, I mean, media marketing channels have changed, almost digital, everything is moving towards digital. When employees are changed, what are the key things which are working for them in terms of building the brand? And the crowd is more, international brands are coming and all. So one of the terms that was coming again and again in the conversations was influencer marketing. That many of the entrepreneurs have used the power of influencer marketing to break the clutter. So I became curious about this topic, right? And then my co-author happens to have some experience in this area. So, I mean, all those things build up the ground for writing this third book, Booming Digital Stars, in which I covered how these content creators who are known for a particular art are becoming influencers, are endorsing brands, are basically building market for these new age brands, are creating their own brands. And it was totally a new world, which I covered in this book. Now, talking about the said that I could have a better career as a marketer after leaving XLRI, and what I created out of writing these books. So, I mean, when I started writing these books, I was not sure that how the career will evolve. I was happy that I am getting a chance to do something which I love, which is understanding the whys and hows behind these inspiring journeys. But during the process, I developed the skill of brand storytelling. I also realized that brand storytelling is a very powerful way to create brands. Stories are memorable, stories are shareable. And to show the power of stories, let me ask a question to all of you. How many of you use Apple products in this room? Okay. And how many of you know about Steve Jobs? Everybody, right? The point that I want to make is that many of you don't use Apple products, but you would have heard example of Steve Jobs in case studies, in conversations, in entrepreneurship talks. There are movies created on him. There are books written on him. And that's why the story of Steve Jobs enters into your subconscious mind. I mean, there are many other successful entrepreneurs also, but the name of Steve Jobs comes again and again in your mind because in the subconscious mind, his story is there, right? Now, when people again and give examples of Steve Jobs, Apple gets the free attention, right? And knowingly or unknowingly, many people become marketers of Apple. Whether they are paid or not, that's a different thing. But because they communicate the stories, they become the marketers of Apple. So that's the power of stories, right? Let me ask another question. Which is the most valuable brand in India? Tata's, right? Now go on Amazon and look on which Indian brand the maximum amount of literature is written. Maximum number of biographies, maximum number of stories about social initiatives and all, you will find Tata's, right? Many of you in this room wouldn't have used a product from TCS, wouldn't have used a product from Tata Steel, wouldn't have used Tata Trucks in terms of driving. But all of you, many of you would have high opinions about Tata's, right? Today, if you have to invest in a stock which you think is safer, the name of Tata's come to your mind, right? Why this has happened? Because we all have heard great stories about Tata's, right? So stories basically create very much brand upliftment and positivity in the subconscious mind. So when I understood this, by writing these books, I developed the craft of brand storytelling. I felt that it could become a profession also, and very useful profession. And when I was talking to these entrepreneurs who are creating leading brands, I also got to know that they also use storytelling to create brand in some way or the other. So I created a new niche for myself, or basically I tried getting into this niche, brand storytelling. So I help brands to create their distinct brand identity in a crowded market using the power of stories. I also help brands in their culture building using the power of stories. How that happens? Because every brand, every business wants their employees to understand their values and purpose so that they get aligned with the way they, they behave in a particular manner and deliver the brand promise. But the reality is that many employees are either not able to understand these statements of purpose and vision or interpret them differently based on their understanding level. But if these statements of purpose, vision, mission, values are delivered, wrapped under beautiful stories, relatable stories of maybe other employees who follow these values and mission, purpose, the employees who are not able to understand earlier are able to understand. Stories stay in the subconscious mind, stories are shareable, and because of which the culture, the way brand wants gets created, because now people are not talking the gossips about their project managers and their salary up and all. They're talking great stories that how this brand got founded, how these values are followed, and the positivity comes in the environment and the culture builds up. So these are the problems that I have solved using the skill of brand storytelling.
So this very interesting insight. And as a marketing academic, we often say that when you talk about brand equity, story around brand, how exactly founder created that brand. For example, Starbucks, the moment we think about the Starbucks, immediately the idea of Howard Soul, visiting Italy and then, getting this inspiration by seeing Italian cafes, so there's several. So every brand often is a story, or it starts with, or story is a big part of the way the brand equity was created. So that's a very interesting, and he very rightly said that there was a gap in the market in terms of content or book or intellectual output on this new age digital entrepreneur. As I said, it's very hot, very new. And when you have something so new, invariably there is a lack of content. So he filled up this gap seemingly with this book. So let me continue with the previous question.
Sir, I wanted to share something that I
Okay.
forgot to share.
Yeah.
So something interesting happened during the journey, which I wanted to share with you on the personal level with all of you. So when my first book got published, Harsha Bhogle got to know that I have started this journey by making him as a role model. And he gave me an opportunity to meet at his home. He invited me, he inspired me, he showed me the further path. So the further journey that I have traveled. So I forgot to mention that like a lot of inspiration again came not through the reading, but through the primary meeting with him. That happened. Booming brands also got appreciated twice by Government of India. Leaders. Mr. Amitabh Kant, CEO of Niti Aayog, appreciated Booming Brands Part 1 because it was about new age made in India brands, and Make in India used to come under Mr. Amitabh Kant. Then Mr. Prakash Javadekar, Union HRD Minister at that time, appreciated the book. So all these things filled me with the confidence that I'm moving in some right direction, and that all these things also boosted my confidence to move in this direction. So I just wanted to cover that part.
Yeah,
Sorry.
maybe Chetan Bhagat, you may be knowing. Incidentally, he's also author and he's
from
also
Ahmedabad.
IIMA alumnus. So we had a chance to meet him some time ago. He visited campus. Yeah, so there's several examples of business to graduate, opting for this little off the beat career path and becoming authors, or visible face in the creativity side. So this is a question which is related to my earlier question. So when you talk about content, when you talk about creators economy, and I think I was told that this passionate economy is a similar terminology. So they are entrepreneurs, digital entrepreneurs, some of them, the 11. So how they are actually different from the traditional small scale enterprises or the entrepreneurs, startup entrepreneurs.
Right.
So is there a difference there?
Yeah.
Your assessment?
Yeah. So great question. And I think, it's a great thing that all of you would also appreciate in terms of understanding that how creator economy small businesses are very different from traditional small businesses, right? So the beauty of these businesses is creator economy businesses are that they are backed by digital technologies. Compare a online tutor class, online course, and a regular tuition class, right? If in a regular tuition class, teacher has to extend his revenue, number of students, he has to take a bigger class, he has to increase the working times from morning 9 to evening 9. If he has to increase from 9 to 10 karna padega, right? If a barber is running a saloon, he wants to increase his customer base, he has to increase the time of working, time and effort, he has to increase. If a general store guy who is running a small business, if he wants to increase the revenue, either he has to open up multiple stores or have to increase the time and effort so that more customers can come. That's not the case in creator economy businesses, because digital businesses, these digital assets or small businesses that are created in the creator economy work 24/7 because anybody can access internet 24/7. So even when the creator of that content or that course is sleeping, the revenue can come. Another beauty of these businesses is that these businesses are global from the day one. They go wherever internet goes, right? So that's the way these businesses are very different from traditional businesses. See, these small businesses also have global audience and much more revenue than the traditional small businesses.
So, so we say that this is scale advantage. So,
right.
Maybe a digital store has unlimited space, unlike the offline store. So what led to or what fueled the growth of this creator economy in last couple of years?
Right. So that's also a great question, that what really led to this transition from to creator economy. So there are multiple factors and I will explain them one by one. The first is the creation tools. The foundation of creator economy is personal computer. That basically converted information into digital. When information gets converted into digital, it becomes searchable, editable, shareable easily, right? The second tool that became the foundation of creator economy is our powerful smartphone with a very powerful camera. Because of this smartphone, even amateurs became videographers and photographers, right? Then there are other tools and technologies like Canva, which is used now to create visual content, GarageBand, which is used by musicians, and many other such tools and technologies started coming up, which gave a lot of power in hands of creative people, right? So that was first, tools. The second one is media platforms like YouTube, Spotify, Medium, and all. So what used to happen in the traditional era, control was in hands of certain editors or directors or casting directors who used to select the artists, right? And they used to decide the destiny of a creative person, whether he will be able to make the career or not. When these platforms like YouTube, Spotify, and Medium and others started coming, these gatekeepers went away. Now, creative people can showcase their talent even from the remotest part of the country. And if they have the talent, these channels give them the distribution. If it's a video content, YouTube gives them the distribution and the visibility and discoverability. If it's a podcast and audio content, Spotify is there. If it's a text content, Medium is there, and like others. So these platforms created distribution and creativity, showing opportunities for these creators. Another important thing that basically became as a catalyst is the low cost of data and increasing internet penetration, especially since the Reliance Jio came in India. Today, data consumption, data cost of consuming data is least in the world in India, right? Smartphones are so cheap, they are getting in the hands of, everybody, even a vegetable vendor is using a smartphone, right? So anybody who so what is happening is that people are now consuming content which are getting created by creators. They are getting exposure to till yesterday, only Shah Rukh Khan and Sachin Tendulkar used to come in media and TV and videos. Now anybody and everybody who's relatable, who looks like us, has talent, can create a video and can become popular. And if I also have talent, can't I do that? So that data consumption is giving them the exposure because they are watching more and more content, and then this smartphone in the hands of them, giving them power to produce their own content and upload, because internet is cheap. It's not like that it was earlier, right? So that's the beauty. Another thing that has become as a catalyst is the talent management agencies. Now, creative people might not know how to monetize their talent. At the same time, they are so busy in the experimentation of their craft, because creativity will not give you success in the first time, right? You have to keep on experimenting to come up with something innovative or so. So they are so busy in their craft that they don't know how to monetize their talent, right? But now the talent management agencies are coming up, who basically manage the brands, who bring in brands for these creators. Let's say they will pitch to the brand that this creator has 1 million followers. Why don't you, and he's relevant also, why don't you market on his channel? They will negotiate the contracts with the brand, because creator might not have that kind of understanding to negotiate the contracts, negotiate the pricing, negotiate the revenue model. So these agencies will take their cut, will bring in the brands for these creators, are creating the monetization opportunities. So they are getting the revenue model and all. And then in last 4 years, around $2 billion of venture capital funding has happened in creator economy related startups. I'm talking from the Indian context. And we know that whenever venture capital comes in, more and more innovative businesses take birth, right? So when more and more innovative businesses are taking birth to support creators, to become part of creator economy, the economy is getting the push, right? Creators are getting more and more tools to manage their finance, manage their relationships with their audience, right? Produce better content, better graphical content and all. So all these tools are coming up. So yeah, all these things in a way are helping in the boosting the creator economy from the Indian context.
So what I think Mr. Hurst said, that this is very interesting to me. If you look at, in some ways, democratization of opportunities. So what digital technologies have done, they have level the field. Level the field means now, earlier, as he was saying, that we have heard stories about it, that if you want to have a break in Hollywood or Bollywood, like in India we have, or you want to be you join or become a part of music industry, it's almost impossible. There are so many gatekeepers, and we have always these stories. You need to have some connections with the producers, or there are certain families dominating the Bollywood, for example. So it's, if you are a real talented artist, possibly, you know, finding a foothold in Bollywood or music industry was impossible, isn't that? But what I was told, you know, now TikTok is anyways banned, but I heard that you have so many very, very talented artists showcasing their talent, you know, small videos they're making with very limited, like smartphone and all that. And invariably, given that they have talent, they have, you know, talent in of singing talent or acting talent, and they have become real big celebrities. People know them. So it's a very, you know, in some ways a democratization of opportunities enabled by the digital technology. So this is interesting. You know, so, but how exactly they make money, you know, these digital entrepreneurs or the influencers? We have some understanding in terms of YouTube paying them, but what are other ways? And
Sure.
you have studied these 11. So
Right.
I was told that they're making real big money nowadays. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's a news about creators making big money, and I will talk about how that big money is made, but I will also talk about that everybody doesn't make money,
Okay.
right? They're both the sides. So let me first talk about what are the revenue opportunities for these creators. See, these creators have multiple revenue opportunities in terms of when they become famous, they can create online courses, right? They can create affiliate links below their videos. So let's say they are talking about a video, and that video is about a product. That product is available on Amazon. They can put in the affiliate link below their video. Then they get money through YouTube ad revenue. So you would have noticed that whenever you watch a video on YouTube, an ad comes, right? So some percentage of that ad revenue also goes to the creators on whose channels, but after they have achieved a certain threshold in terms of the number of subscribers and the views, they start getting that ad revenue. Another big opportunity, or the biggest opportunity as of now for the creators, is brand deals. And which is a very interesting topic, and which leads to the influencer marketing topic, that why these creators are getting brand deals, what really influencers are, and why this topic is becoming so popular these days. So the thing is that, as I told you, these people have audience today. I mean, the Gen Z audience, millennials, these people have audience today. And these audience have been built over multiple years by sharing the authentic craft. Not by, I mean, somebody is a good dancer. He has created this audience base of the people who are passionate about dance, who respects now this person because of his craft, and there is a relationship between them. And this person has built up relationship over a longer period of time. A movie star will come in 1 or 2 movies in a year, and then will disappear for 1 year. But these people are putting in content every week, or sometimes twice or thrice in a week, right? So when they are putting in so much effort to engage their audience, when they are building that kind of trust, when they are creating that kind of relationship with their audience, brands are capitalizing on that relationship. Brands are capitalizing on that attention span that audience are giving to these people to put their brand messages in their content so that it reaches out. And why brands have the problem? Because consumers' attention span is reducing drastically. I mean, brands are struggling to pass on their messages to consumers because consumer is occupied sometimes in mobile. I mean, thousands of messages are coming through various sources, and consumer is not able to give attention. We all have disconnecting the calls of telecallers, right? Social media ads, now we don't notice. Banners on any internet platform, we close it. Billboards, we don't notice. Newspaper advertisements, we ignore because we know that they are advertisements. So how the brands will get the attention of the target audience? But people are taking time to watch the content of these YouTubers, right? These influencers. So brands are going out to them. When you are talking about your joke, is there a way you can put in my brand in that joke? When you are preparing a food recipe, can you use my brand, my masala, instead of, let's say, any other masala? Can you say, can you say that my oil is better than other oil because you cook and you have 12 million followers who learn from your recipes? That's why they are getting the brand deals, and influencer marketing is becoming a huge thing now. Then another topic, should I continue that many of them don't make money? Or
yeah, maybe that's a.
Now the thing is that there is a lot of hype around influencer marketing, and when we look at these numbers, that some influencer is making 10 to 15 lakh rupees a month, 20 lakh rupees a month. Some influencers are charging crores rupees for a year, for the whole year contract or so. I mean, people get fascinated, right? Influencer marketing has a lot of money, and today many youngsters are planning to become YouTubers instead of becoming doctor, engineers, and lawyers.
So I would let me interrupt. I have a small son, so the question was given to him that what exactly you wish to become. So I noticed I attended a virtual class. At least 10 kids say that we want to become YouTuber. I was quite surprised that it's just a new, metrics or new career goal they have. So YouTuber is such a big thing for kids actually, because they see all the gamers, and I think one gamer he covered in his book. So yeah, continue.
So the thing is that it is becoming a new career aspiration. Why it is becoming a new career aspiration? Because there is a lot of hype and news around what the top influencers are making. But let me give you some figures. If you want to earn, if an influencer or a content creator, so a content creator who has huge following is termed as influencer. Everybody starts as a content creator, creating content on music, food recipes and all. When they accumulate huge mass following of, audience on social media, they become influencers because now they have influence. They can influence your thought process, right? So they become influencers. Now, influencers or content creators who have 1 million plus subscribers earns in lakhs. Now, how many YouTube channels are there with 1 million plus subscribers? Can anybody tell in India? Around 1200, little more than that, around 1200. Recently Forbes India came up with the magazine on digital stars. I mean, they have digital stars on the cover page. I was reading the numbers. They have identified the numbers. You know how many creators are there in India, full-time and part-time? 8 crore. 80 million means 8 crore, right? So 8 crore creators are there. Now you all are good in mathematics. Do the calculation of 1200 divided by 8 crores and take out the percentage, right? Those are the creators who makes in lakhs. There are many creators who make in thousands, and there are many, many, many creators who don't make any money. They're just filled with hope that one day I will be able to reach at the top of the pyramid. So it's not like that. I mean, sometimes I feel worried about the kids who think that our next career option is YouTube, becoming a YouTuber. They don't realize that every minute, 500 hours of video content is uploaded on YouTube. That's the competition getting generated every minute for the attention span of the audience. So that competition is much, much, much higher than getting into a top course, right? But people are not realizing that because they are getting influenced by those fascinating figures coming in the market. And why these fascinating figures are coming in the market, that's also a reason to understand. And this is my thought process, right? My thought process is that what platforms these creators are using? These creators are using social media networks, right? Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube and all to share their content. What these platforms are? These are user-generated content platforms. They have to get more and more user-generated content created to remain relevant, to get more advertising revenue. Now, you and I might have created LinkedIn profile once, might go once in a while to Facebook just to check friend status or so, and then we will get busy in our studies or so, other work, right? How the engagement will increase? When the creator economy will get boost, when more people will aspire to become creators, right? When they will create more and more content, they will say that I have put in a video on YouTube, you all please watch it. I have put in a post on LinkedIn, you all please watch it. So this person is increasing the engagement on that user-generated content platform, also asking others to increase the engagement, right? So in a way, the growth is happening for those media platforms, user-generated content platforms. And so they are also promoting creators. They are talking positive things about the creator economy, which is good. This economy is great. It has given opportunity to many talented people to showcase their talent. But let me make a powerful statement. A great artist can come from anywhere, but everybody cannot be a great artist, right? So first people have to figure out what their art and craft is, on which they can make their name that needs ears. And then they should figure out that whether they can face this competition and make revenue out of that, the kind of revenue that they're listening about. Otherwise, it is just a way, it's a class of improving your public speaking. I would say that way.
Yeah, so Reena, we had 45 minutes, so maybe one last question if you permit. Yeah. So some tips for marketing, given that you have studied, and examined these influencers, 11 digital entrepreneurs. If you need to offer a set of advice to marketers, in terms of how to effectively use influencer marketing, do's and don'ts, if you can give us some ready-made tips, ready to use tips.
Hmm.
In
Sure.
terms of
Sure. So this is a very important question because of so much hype around influencer marketing. Many new age startups which are getting VC funded, they are thinking that influencer marketing is a magic wand. So that will help them to get the growth. And because of which they put in the money, right, in influencer marketing. But many of them might not get the desired results because they don't follow the right approach. So I will share few do's and don'ts that will help you to understand what are the right approaches and what are the things that one should not do. So the thing is that first and foremost, one has to figure out the right influencer, because there are so many influencers available on internet doesn't mean that influencer marketing is easy. One has to figure out that out of this crowd of crores of content creators or few of the hundreds of the mega influencers, which are the right ones for us. How you identify that? You see the overlap of your target audience and their followers. If you are selling a financial product that needs investment, the creator who has mass audience of students might not be the right content creator for you because his audience doesn't have the buying power, right? If you are trying to sell a product in Tamil Nadu, you would need to engage with an influencer who can speaks Tamil and can connect with the audience there rather than hiring the mega influencer who speaks Hindi, right? So the first and foremost, a marketer has to understand who will be the right influencer because of the overlapping of the audience. The second thing that they have to understand is that they have to differentiate between the hype creators and real and genuine knowledge leaders. I mean, why somebody will follow an influencer? Because they will consider that person as a specialist in a particular area, because specialization creates the trust, right? And that's why they will listen to that person's advice. Now, what happens that sometimes brands think that this influencer has so many followers, so many subscribers, so many views, so many likes, so many comments on his videos, would be the most powerful influencer. He's talking about crypto, he's talking about financial products, he's talking about this and that, lot of overlap of audience, right? But that person might be a hype creator also, right? The kind of metrics, views, likes, shares, these are vanity metrics. These are not business metrics, right? That kind of influencer might have fake followers or bot followers, right? So it's very important to understand the audience breakup, from where those audience are coming, how frequently they are coming, what is their engagement rate, what is the track record of the influencer. I mean, I'm so upset about the recent news which is coming around that many influencers, few months back were talking highly about crypto, and suddenly crypto downturn has come. Those influencers would have made their money by endorsing crypto, but many innocent people would have lost their money by listening to their advice. Now, will these influencers will have the same kind of trust factor now? Maybe not. So a brand has to be cautious whether he's going to the right influencer who still has the trust factor or who has damaged his trust factor by talking about the thing which he shouldn't have talked about, right? So those are the things. Then marketers should also look for real business metrics instead of just vanity metrics. What are the real business metrics? Whether engagement with this influencer is increasing my site visits, my revenue, my the conversion rate in some way or the other. These business metrics have to be captured. At the same time, marketers should also have a purpose and objective before reaching out to influencers, whether the purpose is to create the brand awareness or the conversion or the image upliftment for the brand. Accordingly, the game will happen. Then they can't just reach out to marketers, can't just reach out to influencers without doing their groundwork. What groundwork is? They still have to identify what are the consumer insights that will basically make their consumers relate with their brand. What are the functional benefits and emotional benefits of their brand? What are the key messages they have to communicate that differentiate or connects the relationship with their target audience, right? They have to understand all these things. They have to prepare a concept note, and then they have to reach out to an influencer to talk the right thing, right? I would like to share one more point. A marketer also has to be aware about that they should try to avoid an influencer who is endorsing too many brands, because people listen to an influencer because there is a trust factor, right? Today, a film star who might be driving Mercedes was talking about Maruti or Hyundai, small car. I know that this is a paid endorsement, right? So that's why the trust factor would be less. Why I was trusting a YouTube content creator or a social media influencer, because I felt that this person is relatable and this person has invested so much time and energy in building the relationship, and whatever he's talking is sensible because he's a specialist in this area, right? That's the trust factor has been built up. Now suddenly influencer gets thinks that I have so many millions of followers and I can talk about any brand because I have so many followers. What he's doing, he's diluting his equity. Because when an influencer is talking about so many brands, first thing, his creativity gets diluted, because every time you cannot put in the brand message authentically in your content. Second thing, audience also realize that, boss, every time he talks about brands, sometimes he's trying to sell me this, sometimes he's trying to sell me that. So basically taking disadvantage of the trust factor. So audience will not listen that much, right? So that kind of, and they will in fact create a clutter in the mind of audience key, this influencer is related to this brand or that brand. So that's all these things marketers have to keep in mind whenever they are getting into the influencer engagement. And one more thing.
Yeah.
Can I share?
Yeah, sure.
Can I share? Don't be dependent. I mean, marketers should not be dependent on one influencer or one influencer activity. Can one TV ad give results to brand? No. Can one newspaper article or newspaper advertisement can give results? No. Can one billboard activity can give the results? No. Every time we create a marketing mix. So even when we are thinking about only, let's say, digital channel, there has to be mix of influencers, from podcasters to musicians to comedy content creators to let's say writers, who basically create different engagements with audience. Like, let me say, take the example of Nykaa. Nykaa has a mega influencer, then 3,000 plus micro influencers who are fashion bloggers, right? Who are who talk about lifestyle, beauty, and all. So I think their mega influencer is Sara Ali Khan, and then they have so many micro influencers who keep on creating the engagement. So these are the things that brands have to keep in mind whenever they are getting into the engagements.
Okay, thanks, sirs, for sharing very insightful perspective on influencer marketing, and to me it was very, very, insightful, and I think I have little better understanding of influencer marketing now, I can say. But it's just probably now I will look at your book even more carefully and attempt to find some more gems out of it. So thanks to Harsh for coming down and discussing his journey and sharing his insights on influencer marketing. Thanks to our library team, Reena, for organizing this event, and thanks to all of you for being part of this event. Yeah, over to Reena.
Thank you so much, Mr. Harsh Pamnani, for your valuable talk and conversation with Professor Jaiswal. So now I would like to invite audience, please free feel to ask any questions from audience.
Yeah, we have 10-15 minutes.
We have
earmarked
5 to
for
7
Q&As.
minutes. I think online questions are there. Pavish? Manish?
Thank you for talking. You are talking about that YouTubers regarding that some very less YouTubers having that more influence. So do they have specific depend on the niche or any broad topic?
Right. So very relevant question. So subscribers also depend on the kind of the niche in which influencer is active. So for example, if anybody is active in entertainment, definitely the number of followers will be more, like comedy content, music, dance, right? These are the categories where the following will be in masses. And when somebody is talking about educational content, like let's say a niche topic like AI, definitely the following is going to be lesser, right? So that also comes into picture because of the niche.
But niche may be less cluttered. Isn't that probably?
Because topic is getting more and more specific. Like, for example, if I teach mathematics in Bhojpuri, my audience will be very limited, but they will be honest to me. They will be loyal to me because I am the only guy who is, like, let's say, teaching mathematics in Bhojpuri. But if somebody is teaching mathematics in English or Hindi, might have larger audience than this person because the crowd is more. And definitely the person who is creating comedy content and dancing on YouTube will have definitely more audience than somebody teaching mathematics. So that's the way the graph of the audience will increase, because now niche is getting differentiated.
As of such, I don't have a question, but I just wanted to put my views forward. So basically, the views that I want to say about is that with followers or creators who don't have much followers, like not in millions. So I just want to share one experience or example. Basically, I started a venture to support students in their initiatives, in their exam preparations. And for that, I use some influencers like YouTubers to support them. So basically, one of the YouTuber, I don't want to name them, but one of the YouTuber had around 120K followers, and she agreed to support the initiative that I started, or the venture. And because of that, I was able to gain a lot of traction for my business, and a lot of traction and a lot of conversion, like a lot of views and traffic came from their reference. But the thing is that instead of directly partnering with them, we collaborated in a form of a sort of business partners, where where our services were given in the form of part A, and in part B, their advertisement was given. So it was sort of a revenue sharing model on the basis of that. So I just wanted to put my views on that. Like, even creators with low number of followers as compared to mega influencers, like my YouTuber was just 120K followers, not just, it was a 120,000 followers. So that can also help. That
can also help. So that's the concept of mega influencer and micro influencer. So that's why I said mega influencer can create the brand awareness, but when you have to create the continuous engagement with the audience, you need many micro influencers who keep on communicating about your brand so that it remains in the top of the mind of the audience, right? So every time you will not hire, let's say, a top mega influencer because his price will also be very high, right? So, but he will create the brand awareness. He will take it to all his audience base. Now, this audience base will also be in pockets following many micro influencers. If they're also talking about that particular brand in their conversation, then more number of times the brand messages are entering into people's mind on the regular basis, and the trust factor is increasing, and that will lead to conversion. So it's a mixed strategy. You have to, so micro influencers also are very powerful in a way. So for example, let me give you an example. Micro influencers, when I use the term influencer, it is not only the social media influencer, right? Your mathematics teacher could be an influencer for recommending you a mathematics book. Now, he's a micro influencer, but he has the power to convert the 60 students into a class into the customer of a mathematics book, right? He is not a national level mathematics teacher, but it's still a micro influencer who can create the sales of 60 books by recommending a book in the class. Micro influencer.
Right? Good evening, Mr. Harsh. Since you talked about our attention span decreasing, I've been following this whole field since a while, and I've read somewhere that a lot short form of content is being created nowadays. So could you please explain how the economy will move around short form of content, since YouTube has also introduced shorts and Instagram's having reels?
Right. So see, there is a thing that if there is demand of something, the supply of that thing will get created. The supply will create the more demand, right? So that's my perspective. People's attention spans are reducing. TikTok created basically a wave of short form videos. Then Instagram came up with the short term form videos. YouTube also has to be part of this whole competition. They also came up with YouTube shorts, right? And people are creating more and more short videos. But these short videos definitely can increase the views for those creators, can increase the engagement of the audience. They want to see the short form videos and all. But will they create any connection with the creator in the long term? That I'm little doubtful, because any short form content comes, I just listen to that joke, I pass it on. Did I follow that creator immediately? Answer is no, right? So that creator got views, but he might not get the subscribers, right? Or a creator who has huge number of subscribers might use that short form content to remain relevant, because he's coming again and again in front of the audience by showing a 1 minute content instead of 20-minute content. So that's the way they will keep their audience engaged in some way or the other, because they already have an audience base. Every time they can't create a 20 minutes content to keep them engaged, and let's say they create 20-minute content on weekly basis, but to keep their audience engaged even on the day-to-day basis, they might create short form content so that they remain in the mind of the audience. See, understand one thing, there are so many content creators on YouTubers and on YouTube. And YouTube is just the one platform. Then there is Instagram, then there is Facebook, then there is Snapchat, then there is, other social media channels. Then there are OTT platforms. Then there are other sources of entertainment. Consumer has so many options. If today one creator is not there in front of them, they might forget him and start going to another creator, right? So the consistency is a very big thing for any content creator. They have to consistently create content to remain relevant. There's a fight for relevance. Every day, every week, there is a fight for relevance. And sometimes when you are not able to create long form content, short form content becomes a good way to keep the engagement level alive, memory alive, relevance alive. So I will put it that way.
Hello, Harsh.
Please.
My name is Gautam. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
I understand, since the topic is digital stars and your book around it, I also, just a curiosity which I'm having, I see you as a strong advocate for online digital assets. Why then these big brands like Byju's and the Nikas of the world, those who are initially digital natives, are also establishing their brick and mortar presence? Whether brick and mortar presence is still relevant, that is my curiosity.
Sure.
Plus.
Sure. Yeah. So very relevant question, sir. And the answer is that, we all have a concept of market segmentation, right? A brand tries to capture one segment first. Then once that segment starts getting saturated, brand tries to enter into another market segment. That's why they try to capture multiple market segments. Now, be it any online first brand or digital first brand like Byju's and all, the first target audience the first market segment came from people who were already active on the digital mediums. Now they also have to show year-on-year growth. Now, after a point of time, the people who are active on internet, that market will get saturated up to an extent. Even if new people are joining the internet bandwagon, they all are not becoming Byju's customers. But Byju's has to continuously show the growth, or any other online brand has to continuously show the growth. Now, from where they will get the next set of audience? The people who are right now not online, but in future could come online, or they are still online, but they are not comfortable in using the online medium, but they have the purchasing capacity. So today they can get engaged by the offline medium, and over a period of time, when they become comfortable, they get onto the online platform also. So that's what is that everybody has to expand the market. For that, they have to enter into new segments, and that's why these things are coming out. Can I elaborate the answer a little bit more?
Please.
You would have seen that whenever a new brand comes, especially the digital first brand, they first advertise on the digital channels, Facebook ads, Google search ads, and all. Those are the advice which are given by the marketers and the investors also, that first invest in the digital marketing. That's why digital marketing became big, right? But agar Make My Trip ka audience is not the only person who uses Facebook. Everybody and anybody can travel through the flight, right? So initially, Make My Trip will try to convince the audience who are digital savvy, who are comfortable in doing the digital transaction, putting the credit card numbers and all. And once that market is saturated, or they have to expand into the new market, they will do offline activities also, so that people pay offline and they buy the ticket and become the customer. So that's the thing.
Sir, you have said that consistency is the key in this digital world. So my question is, how do these digital stars deal with procrastination?
I would say that the digital stars who have reached to the top are very hardworking, very hardworking. So what really happens is that we look at their digital life, their social media life, and we think that they are always happy. They might not be working that hard or so, but they are very, very, very serious, at least the ones who are at the top, about their craft, about their schedule, about, so when I covered Prajakta in the story, Prajakta Kohli, mostly same, who has come in the Mismatch Netflix series and now Jug Jug GA movie by Karan Johar. Even though she was doing all these activities, be it web series, be it shooting for the film, she never broke her schedule of posting 3 videos in a week. That's the hard work, right? I was talking to Kavita Singh, who is the chef I've covered in the book, more than 12 million followers, right? She has 2 kids, whole family to run. So, and she posts, I think once or twice in a week videos, right? I think thrice also. I don't remember. I'm not able to recall the exact number. Whenever she goes on vacation with the family, before that, she works twice or thrice hard to create the videos in advance, because a creator might take rest, but content cannot take the rest. It has to go online. So videos will be created in advance. Then creator is going on vacation, but in the back end, the videos will come on the scheduled time, because audience are expecting that the content will come every Thursday, or content will come every Sunday. If it is not coming, they will move on to somebody else. And once they move on to somebody else, it is very hard to get them back.
Good evening, sir. I would like to draw an instance from the past. Like I'm talking of the pandemic times. Like when the creators, they were also having some mental breakdown because there was no economy. Like they couldn't make money because the events were closed and all of that. So I have seen their audience who have like millions of followers, but still their audience were getting disrupted because of the fact that they were endorsing many brands back then, but they won't have a choice. Like they would have to do so for a living. So in that like scenario, you were talking about the trust factor. So how would that play like the role?
So I will give an example with more relevant that everybody would be the eyes of people. These days, film stars are doing gutka branding and they are getting backlash, right? I don't know why they are doing so, but it has always happened whenever they have done. So it happens sometimes. I mean, in the online space also, we have seen that many creators did endorsement for crypto brands. When these brands are not, I mean, just out of the market and all, many influencers are in the process of getting sued, right? So because they had a powerful influence and they misused it. So that happens. If in the short, so that's the approach of the mindset, right? An influencer might be interested in compromising the brand equity that he or she has built up, because getting 1 or 2 lakh rupees or 2,000 rupees, because might have the cash crunch also, could be possible. But yeah, if that the brand if he or she is compromising the brand equity that has been built up, definitely it will be hard to gain brands later on. But let's not talk about every creator, because we don't understand the psychology and the money problems of every creator. Let me share with you the best strategy that the leading ones follow. They are very cautious in terms of promoting the brands, because for them, their personal brand, the trust factor, the reputation currency that they have built up by creating this audience base for years and years is much more important, right? So many times they test the product, they talk about the brands which they have used, so that they can authentically integrate the content in their, the brand message in their content. Or if they have not used the brand, they have not heard about it, they try to reach out to the consumers of those brands to get the feedback. They ask their team members to use those brands, take the genuine feedback, and then they talk about those brands. I have many of the creators I have covered in my book, they say that there are many liquor brands that come with big offers. They say no. There are many brands that promote gambling through video games also. They reach out to them, they say no, because they know that if they once they get into this trap, it will be very difficult for them to come out, and they want to play a long-term game. It also depends whether you want to play a long-term game or short-term game. You want to play a long-term game, you have to build the trust, and you have, even if there is a lack of money, you have to keep your survival intact, your ethics intact, because you want to play a long-term game.
So I have two questions. So my first question is, what was your reasoning behind choosing these 11 digital stars?
Right.
And my second question is that when did you realize that this could be a book series? So you have written 3 books and they're all covering booming brands. So when did you realize this could be a series, and what can we expect if there's going to be another edition in the series?
Sure. So see this. So first 2 books on new age Indian brands. I covered the journeys of brands like Paperboard, Zomato, Big Basket, and others. The third book is around personal brands, which are these content creators, influencers who have become personal brands in themselves. On what basis I choose brands? And the approach has been similar, whether I talk about the startup brands or whether I talk about these personal brands, creator economy influencers, is that I always look for different sectors, different niches, and then I look for market leaders in those niches. For example, let me talk about how I chose the brands in booming brands. Book My Show and Shadi.com, both are online businesses, right? But Book My Show is a very different business and category as compared to Shadi.com. Book My Show customer lifetime value is very high. Person will start using at the age of 15, will use it at till the age of 60, 70, till the time the entertainment has to be consumed. Shadi.com has a very low customer lifetime value only for the period when the user's trying to get married. The kind of information captured in Book My Show is very different, only mobile number and email ID to deliver the ticket. The kind of information captured in Shadi.com is very personal, very sensitive, right? So the trust factor has to be created in a different way. Approaches are very different, right? Big Basket is an online business. First Cry is an online business. Big Basket delivers grocery. First Cry delivers baby products. But both of them are very different categories with very different dynamics, right? So how the dynamics differ? Your mobile phone, your fashion, and your, let's say, baby toys. These all are wants. Even if, let's say, they come by a day late, you will be okay, right? But if your grocery is a need. If it doesn't come on time, milk doesn't come on time in the morning, you will not be able to make tea, right? A mother will not be able to cook food for the kids if the vegetables don't come on time, right? So that grocery is a need. Then mobile phone would be purchased once in a year. Baby toys might be purchased once in a month or once in a week, and fashion might be purchased once in a quarter. But grocery is purchased at least 36 times in a year. So brand has to consistently deliver the performance to remain in touch with the customer, to basically excite the customer, right? Then the kind of margins that are available on products like mobile phone and fashion, or maybe baby toys, I mean the premium baby toys, is very different the kind of the margins which are available on the grocery products, right? The kind of the supply chain that works in the grocery is very different. You know, there are 3 kinds of supply chains in grocery. Fresh food, which is vegetables, frozen food, which is ice cream and related products, and dry grocery, which is your toothpaste and washing powder, right? Different kind of supply chains. Do I need same kind of supply chains for fashion and mobile? No, those are not perishable products like vegetables and all. So business dynamics are very different. And that's why I identify different kind of businesses, different kind of sectors, different kind of business models, different kind of consumer behavior. And then I meet with the founders, interview them. So because I get learning from different sectors. So, and the same approach I followed when I was taking booming digital stars, because we have picked up stars from various niches. We have picked up Yashraj Mukhate, who made Pauri Ho Rahi Hai very popular during lockdown. He's from Aurangabad, small town musician. Got rejected in Indian Idol, but after 8 years became super popular through YouTube. We have covered Kavita Singh, mother of 2 kids, who started her YouTube channel after husband started going to office, kids started going to school, and she wanted to do something. And she had family responsibilities. She started her cooking channel. Very different story. I mean, only youngsters are not learning the craft. After getting married and all, she learned the craft and created the content. We have covered comedians like Bhuvan Ma'am, who stand out in their own way. So, I mean, there's so much comedy content available on internet, right? We are watching comedy since the time of Jaspal Bhatti and Govinda. right? So there's no lack of comedy content. Still, Bhuvan Bam has become a brand name. How come? Because he's the first creator in India who's created his own, he created his 19 characters. Father, mother, mama, friend, and he plays all these characters by himself. And today, all these characters have become personal brands in themselves. Tomorrow, they can all become endorsers for different kinds of brands because all these characters have different brand personality, right? So how this content creator created a differentiation in a crowded space of comedy, that was a learning for us. Then we covered Team Nach. They're dancers. Two girls who used to run a dance class in Bombay. They hardly had 7 students who were also coming sometimes, and sometimes were not coming. So they thought of promoting their craft on YouTube. And today they have more than 5,000 students only in Bombay. And they do so many partnerships with fashion designers who basically, because they wear different kind of dresses in their dances and all. They do collaboration with, music labels. They do collaboration with the film stars. So let's say a new song is coming in a new film, that song has to become popular. So the film star will come and dance with these girls because they have audience in millions, right? The song becomes popular, the movie gets a pull factor. So we have dancers in the book, we have cook in the book, we have musician in the book, we have comedian in the book, we have podcaster in the book. So idea was we have Abhi and New who talk about positive things in the country, right? We have Madan Gauri, who is the biggest, one of the biggest content creators of South India, because we wanted to create the perspective of a regional content creator also. So idea is, my approach has always been create a portfolio of learnings so that whenever the audience is picking up the book, they get so many diverse learnings, so many whys and hows, right? There's a famous quote by Steve Jobs, connect the dots. But for connecting the dots, you have to first collect the dots. And when you have so many dots, so many whys and hows, so many journeys, when you will combine them, you will create something new for yourself. And my objective is to give you more and more dots, more and more whys and hows, more and more journeys. Sorry for the long answer for the short question, but you asked very relevant question. So I just.
Yeah, with this, we need to, I think Reena is waiting. So
Yeah.
Reena.
Thank you so much, Mr. Harsh Pamnani and Professor Jaiswal and the audience.